Hi, everyone. How are you today? I hope and pray that you are all having a blessed and awesome day. So, today we're going to do our Tuesday at 2 Facebook Live a little bit different than what we normally do. But first, I have to tell you that, firstly, today is National Smile Day. So, put on your happy face. And if you're too busy to listen to and watch the YouTube, the Facebook Live, then please do put it on in the background, and maybe you'll hear something in it that you may need to that you can reflect on, or something. I'm hoping that you do share this as well. I'm Darlene Petrie, CEO and founder of Scam Prevention International. And today I would like to let you know that even if you have been scammed, your chances are quite likely that you can get scammed again. I know people just love statistics, so I am going to give you some numbers out there. And so, when I was researching this, I found an article that was written by I say it SCARS, SCARS, which is Society of Citizens Against Relationship Scams. So that's where I got the information that victims can be scammed 2.4 times. And according to McAfee, 26 trillion, yes, trillion, cyber attack incidences occur in a year, in 1 year. And of those 26 trillion attempts, 8% of that is a little over 2 trillion attacks that will succeed. So we have 26 trillion attempts, 2 trillion attacks that will succeed. And when you think that we have 7.9 billion people in the world, the cyber criminals are busy. And I am of the opinion that it's not a matter of if you get scammed, it will be a matter of when you get scammed. So you're probably wondering, I thought this was about smiling. So why are we smiling today? Well, we're smiling because Scam Prevention International is here to bring you awareness of the different types of scams, how to spot the scams, and how to avoid the scams. And to let you know that there are many other organizations that are educating people on scam prevention, and there are also many organizations, businesses that have antivirus software companies that are out there to help you as well. Now, it seems to me that the good guys are having a hard time keeping up, and it seems to me that the bad guys are winning. So, why are we smiling today? Because I'm here to ask you, and I'm happy because I know you're going to do that, is let's do our part in decreasing people's risk of being scammed and hacked. Let's share all of the information we get about scams and hacks, and let's share stories. And so today, I'm going to tell you a story about Allison. Now, often I find when I'm asking people if they would like to come on my show to talk about their issue, the about being scammed, they don't want to because they don't feel comfortable talking about it, and they have moved on, and many of them are now in a happy space, and they don't want to be brought back to that time when they were victims and when they were traumatized. So I will tell you the story, but I do have permission to tell you the story about Allison, which is not her real name. So Allison is a vibrant, like I mean vibrant, beautiful soul. She's kind, she's caring, giving. She loves her family, and she was always happy. When I spoke to her, she was very happy. And then her husband passed away. She became depressed. She was unsure of herself. She didn't she started not taking care of herself. When people do have a big loss like this, they become lonely, and they feel alone. And she would often use Facebook to connect with her children and with her older grandchildren. And after a while, this connection seemed to have decreased. It slowly happened, but then it just seemed like suddenly her children weren't as connected with her, and they just weren't as being in touch as they always had. She used to always have her grandchildren. They would always come over, and then all of this seemed to have stopped. Now, it was a very vulnerable time for her. And when she was on Facebook, someone came across her Facebook and said that they were very excited to see her, excited to meet her, because they liked her posts, that they had been following her for a little while, and they liked her post, and that they were sorry about her losing her husband, and really felt that they could be friends. And so she connected with this person and thought that nothing of it. Like, she connected with him, and they chatted, and then he asked her to go off of Facebook and go onto Google Hangouts. And so she did. And then they started sharing photos and started having more in-depth kinds of conversation, more passionate types of conversations. And she was still very vulnerable. This was 9 months after her husband had passed away. And I know that some people think, well, that wasn't very long that she waited for her husband, that she was connecting with somebody else. And yes, it's true. But when you think that her family kind of has drifted away, and that she's not seeing her grandchildren as much as she used to, she is lonely, and she is a human being, and we are creatures of wanting to have someone care about us. And so she did connect with this fellow, and they were having conversations, and he was saying how beautiful she was, and that he loved how she talked, and loved how she would be kind and caring to him. And then he said that he wanted to come and meet her. And so she was very excited about that. And the children found out about this, and they did not like it. They said, "No way. You cannot be dating anybody. It hasn't even been a year since our father passed away, so there's no way." So they totally disowned her. They then cut her off, and all she was left with was the person that she had been, and I'm going to say texting, because at this point she had not met the person. She hadn't talk to the person on the phone, and she didn't have video chats with the person. So it is very engaging for her because she is texting with this person several times a day, but she hadn't met him. And she did not know anything about scams. She wasn't looking for someone. She wasn't asking about a relationship. She wasn't on a dating site. This was just a regular Facebook communication. And she had seen photos of him because they were all on Facebook. But and the photos that they shared back and forth on Google Hangouts were all hers. They're all the same as the ones that were in the Facebook. But soon he turned off his Facebook and said, I really don't like to show everybody on Facebook. So then he closed the site on Facebook, and then they just kept going on and on in the in Google Hangouts. And with her family disowning her, literally, like they would laugh at her, they ridiculed her, but nobody had ever mentioned anything about a scam for her, that this could be a possible scam. And during that time, her and I had a conversation because I have shared my story that I too had been scammed. And the person that I was talking to had actually given me her number because he wanted me to send her money, and um, because he was going to send gift cards like this. So I would send her money, and then she would send the gift cards numbers because she was in the US, I'm in Canada, and I couldn't get the US cards. And so still at this time there was no inclination to her that this was a scam. And so during our time, I talked to her, she was very happy. And during our conversations, as it turned out, she really felt that this person really loved her. And I totally understood because I was going through the same thing. But as it turned out, this person that she was talking to was scamming her. And it was through the conversations that her and I had that we determined that, yes, this person was scamming her. And she didn't have any finances to give to him. And he was also very abusive to her in asking her to, sell the truck, and he would call her names. And sometimes when her and I would be having our conversations, it just sounded like such a verbal, violent communication that they had. And I didn't understand a lot of why she would continue on with it. But it's like, when you are in an abusive relationship, I had to really think about where she was at. She was somebody who was loving, who was caring, who was kind, whose husband passed away. She was vulnerable. She was lonely. She didn't have her family. She didn't have anyone around. The only person she had said that she had around was me. And she was also, um, like I said, she was depressed. She stopped looking after herself. She didn't eat. She started back smoking again. And when I'd be talking to her, she'd be just puffing away on those cigarettes a lot, in my opinion. And she just really would so many times tell me, I just want to die. Why did the Lord take my husband, and why did he not take me? And there were times when she would call me in the middle of the night and we would have conversations. And she really was down on herself. And there was a time when I did have to have the police go to her house to do a welfare check on her. And then, and this came after the determining that the person that she was involved with was a scammer. And so she then thought, okay, this person's a scammer, and I feel, and she's saying to me, I feel like I need somebody in my life. And so she tried the dating sites, and we would talk through about the person that she was talking to. And during her time on the dating sites, she had found two other people who were scammers. And again, she didn't want to admit that. She said, how could somebody be so unlucky? I'm never going to be loved. I'm always only going to attract scammers. I just don't want to live. I just don't want to be here. I just need to just not be here. And then, we carried on our conversation some more. And then she did try religion. She did try going to church and talking to people there and really wanting to be with people. But for some reason, there wasn't that connection with the people. But her and I did have conversations, and we would go through scripture in the Bible. And she thought, I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to have a conversation with God, and I'm going to go on a dating site again. And she went on the dating site again, and we went through the process of what needs to happen, that she needs to make sure that she does have a video chat with the person within the 24 hours. That person needs to be living in her area, not living overseas or in another country or in another state, and that this person had had to have a telephone conversation with her as well. And so all of that was met, and she again, like they did have conversations for a couple of weeks, and he did live, I think it was an hour away from where she lived, and so they did go to meet, and she met this person that she met. And I just I can't tell you how happy I am that she did meet somebody that they have a very good relationship. I went to go meet with her. I went on a vacation and I stopped to see her, and they are such a happy couple. And this year, they were going to get married last year, but this year they met, and they are, or not met, this year they're going to get married. And I'm so happy for them. And so, yes, she did go through a lot of trauma, and she's still working through a lot of that trauma. Sometimes, she gets down on herself, and her partner will talk her through those situations. She was honest with him. And that was one of the first things that she was excited about, was that she was able to talk about how her feelings were. So I really think that, by talking to people, being empathetic, and not closing people out of their lives is something, that not closing people out of their life, and not closing people, and letting people in who are going to be kind and caring to you, is really important. If somebody's telling you that they believe that they're being scammed, or if you suspect that somebody is being scammed, do approach it with an empathetic voice, because really these people are victims of a financial crime. If someone came to my house and robbed me, and I said that they came to my house and robbed me, there would be empathy. There wouldn't be, well, did you have your door locked? Why didn't you have your door locked? Or why did you let them in? Or why didn't you phone the police right away? Those are the kinds of conversations that should not be happening. If a person has been scammed, they should be treated as a victim, and they should be treated with empathy. So that is my story about Allison. And I should have started it with Once Upon a Time, because usually stories that start with Once Upon a Time that I've noticed do have a happy ending. So I would really appreciate it if you would share this story, share this video. If nothing else, for the beginning of the stats to know that there's 26 trillion cyber attacks attempted each year, and to help continue to fight against cybercrime, so being hacked and being scammed, please check out and like and share my YouTube channel. I will put that in the comments because I do have other types of conversations in regards to scamming. Um, it's not all about romance scam. It's about so many different types of scams. So I really, really appreciate you coming out today. And thank you for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you next week. So thank you very much. And like I say, I look forward to seeing you next week. Okay.